How embarrassing is that? I got halfway through the show and I realized that I wasn't even live yet. Happens, right? On your first live. Anyway, today I'm going to talk to you all about Edmonton versus Calgary, and I have a very special guest here with me today, Barb from CIR Realty in Calgary, and she'll be able to give you the Calgary perspective. I'm going to give you the Edmonton perspective. So let's get this show started. Roll intro. It's all me. Hey, okay, guys, we're back. This show is now going to be recorded because it wasn't when I first started. I forgot to hit live. So this is Barb Desautel from CIR Realty. And before I let her introduce herself, let's roll her intro. She did a great job on it, and you'll get to know her a little bit more by that as well. Great intro. I love it. So before I get you to introduce yourself, I'm just going to go over some housekeeping items real quick for people. So questions, ask your questions. We're going to go over some things about the city that we have to tell you. And then if there are any questions, we're going to answer them live. I don't know if I'll be able to see them because I've never done this before. So, I mean, all the haters that want to comment how crappy the first live is, do what you got to do, but I'm trying my best here. So, yeah.
I'll help, Jen. We can do it. Teamwork, make the dream work. Let's go.
So tell us all about you and how long you've been in real estate, what areas of the city you work in. Go.
So I'm Barb Desautel, and I work with CIR Realty here in Calgary. It's a local company, and we have about 700 agents. I have been in real estate for about 20 years. I started off part-time, and then I worked my way into full-time. I work a lot in the northeast, northwest area, but of course we work anywhere in the city. We can work, anywhere in Alberta, but not that we would, because we don't know enough about the market. So I love living in Calgary, and I have lived here since I was 11 years old. I originally from Jamaica, so yeah, and absolutely love working.
I don't hear
Calgary.
like a Jamaican accent at all.
Well, they do that Jamaican accent. It comes out when my kids are mad, right? So I will say good morning or what's up, what agwan, people of Jen's channel. Welcome. There you go.
So were you in Calgary for the '88 Olympics when the Cool Runnings Jamaica?
Absolutely. I actually danced in the Olympics, and in one of my videos, I think I showed the outfit that I wore. I can't remember which video it is. Sorry, guys. But yes, I was in the Olympics, and I danced in it, and I went and saw the Jamaican bobsled team. It was a lot of fun. Oh, my God. That was just an amazing time. You know, you're young, and we had so much fun. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Actually, '88 was the last year that I was in Calgary before we moved to Edmonton when I was a kid. So we did all this fun stuff with school. They would like take us to I guess at the time, the virtual reality type of bobsledding and things like that. But yeah, we got to see all the cool ski jumpers and things like we took in quite a few of events from what I remember. It was a fantastic time and really great for the city of Calgary to host the Winter Olympics. So
yeah,
there's still that popular COP park, right?
Yes. Canada Olympic Park. I think it has another name, and all of a sudden it's left me. But anyways, I'm getting older.
But for those of you that didn't know, Barb also has a YouTube channel. We were just live on her channel before this, and we talked a lot about the city's market information. So if you want that information, go over there. She'll have a replay of it that you can catch. I'm not really going to talk about too much about that. We're going to talk about some other things on here. So it's not like a duplicate of information for people that want to watch both channels. So here is Barb's YouTube channel on the bottom of the screen. Also, don't worry about like writing it all down. In the description of this video, once the replay hits the, I don't know, hits the streets.
It's just
however you say it, whatever. When you can watch it in the comments, in the description below, we'll have all her contact information. So you're going to be able to find her website, her email, her phone number, and her YouTube, most importantly, her YouTube channel, because she has a lot of information about Calgary, way more than we're going to cover here.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Edmonton versus Calgary. Let's get this show started.
Oh, now, and my cheat sheet fell on the ground, so let me grab my sheet.
Okay, go ahead.
I got too excited.
That's right. Okay, so these are pretty easy questions. I'm not sure that you'll even need your cheat sheet.
Ah, rats.
Okay, which city is colder? In my opinion, well, I can tell you about Edmonton. So Edmonton is pretty cold. We have 2 seasons here, they say. Construction and winter. Probably they say the same thing about Calgary, but
I believe that to be true.
She's going to tell you about something called the Chinook. That's what Calgary gets. I'm not going to tell you how it affects Calgary, but we get tail ends of the Chinook here. The biggest difference is, to give it away a little bit, it warms up the air. So our tail end, though, isn't enough. So what happens here is beautiful. Not really. In the winter, we get really, really cold and there's snow, and they put sand on the road so you don't slide into other vehicles when you're trying to stop. And then the tail end of the Chinook comes, and it's beautiful. It starts melting off our cars, and you think, oh, my car's so dirty, it's time to go for a car wash. And just as you're thinking about going for a car wash, the temperature drops. And then you're like, if you're parking outside, you're like, you can't wash your car and then park outside because you'll actually freeze your doors shut. So you can only wash your car in the winter here if you have heated underground parking or like a heated garage or something like that. Now in Calgary, in my experience, you tell me your experience. But in my experience, what I liked about it when I was living there is that you could actually wash your car and enjoy it clean for like a couple days before it would snow again. Tell me, what do you think about the weather in Calgary? For the winter anyway. We'll talk winter and we'll talk summer after.
Yeah. Well, I would say our winter weather definitely way better than Jenn up north, because we get the Chinook. And basically what that is, there's a cool, warm air comes in off of the mountains. It's the ridge, and it makes it beautiful. So what happens is you could absolutely leave your house in the morning and it's minus 20, and then by noon it's plus 5. I love it. Yes, I absolutely love it. Living in Calgary, you definitely get that Chinook, and so you can wash your car. Now, I mean, if it's minus 40, because it gets that way, right? We're in Alberta. If it's minus 40, I wouldn't recommend washing your car. I have done it because, we're real estate agents, so we want our cars to look nice when people come in. The caveat is when you go to show homes and your car freezes and you have to get your clients to help you open your door because you need to get to the next house, it's not that great.
That's where hockey comes in. Like if you're good at hockey, you just give the door a little hip check, and it breaks the ice off, and then you can open your door.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I would say though, Calgary is beautiful. Chinook wise, it makes it more peaceful, or you can live with it, right? If you have to get up to go to work, knowing that, okay, maybe at noon, you can take your sweater off and get rid of your parka and put on your bathing suit, right? So sadly,
it's still winter city though, right?
Yeah, let's admit it. We're in Alberta. It's still winter. Minus 40. Your nose is freezing. Your eyelashes are clumped together by icicles. Yeah.
I think in both cities, you could pretty much have like a 30-degree shift in a day. Like you could start the day at minus 15 Celsius, and then at the peak heat, you could be at plus 15 easily. Especially like this spring, fall time of year, you can get the really big variances. Let's talk about the summer. So I agree, Calgary might be better in the winter, but I would have to say hands down, Edmonton is better in the summer. Don't call me yet. I'll tell you why. Calgary is so freaking windy. Like in the summer, it could be like really hot, and you'll feel it in your house if you don't have AC. But outside, it's so windy. It's like hot, and you're not really hot because it's so windy there. And in Edmonton, we don't have that. I don't feel like we have as much wind. And it's probably associated with the Chinooks that you have.
Yes, for sure. I mean, that's the wind is what brings the Chinook in, absolutely. And it is windy, and I guess it depends on which part of the city you're living in, right? But for me, I do find it, I find it windy. However, if you're in the north, like if you live in the northwest, it's super windy there. But again, that is closer to the mountains, right? And that is where the Chinook comes off.
Are you talking about like just Northwest Calgary or Northwest generally?
Northwest Calgary. So if you live in Northwest Calgary, definitely I find that it's super windy there. And that's when it is minus 40 or whatever. That's where all of the snow drifts, right? Sometimes you're driving with the snow, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa! And that's because the wind has taken all the snow and just drifted across the road. And sometimes you can't go around it, right? You know, you got your shovel. You always have a shovel in your car in the winter in Alberta. And you got to get out and shovel yourself out, right? Especially along our new ring road, Stony Trail, heading up to the northwest. Yeah, it can be brutal. Yeah.
And right now we're experiencing fall. I'm probably like you there. You have lots of beautiful colors happening. But in Edmonton, this is our windy time. Fall is our windy time of the year, and it really sucks because it just is so beautiful. And then 60 seconds later, like I said on your channel, all the leaves are on the ground. And then sticks and pine trees until spring.
It's so sad.
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah, that's the leaves. So, okay, moving on. Which city do you think takes longer on average to commute to downtown? Well, let's say what you think yours is, and I'll say what mine is, then we'll know.
Okay, so it depends on where you are in the city, but if you are in suburbia, I would say the average is about half an hour to 40 minutes to get to downtown. So depends on how far in the suburbs you live. Our roads now, we have the Deerfoot, the QE2, and that highway just gets crazy, right? There's always accident on it. There's always something going on, that sets you off track. But I would say on average, it takes you about 30 to 40 minutes to get to downtown if you live on the outlying communities, right? So it doesn't matter whether it's north, south, or what have you. It's going to take you about half an hour to 40 minutes to get to downtown Calgary.
Yeah, I would say that's the same here. Though from different parts of the city, I think it's easier to get to downtown. Right now, we have LRT construction. So coming to downtown from the west side of the city is very difficult. Let's talk more about roads. So Edmonton has a ring road. Calgary is attempting to get one for a number of years.
All right. Enough about that. Don't just like, do you have to do that to us? Come on.
Not sure. You start your ring road the same time we started ours, and we've been enjoying ours for a few years.
I must admit, like I said on my channel, I was jealous of Edmonton because, they had the Anthony Henday, and when I go to Edmonton for whatever activities for my kids or just to hang out, always very jealous that you can get around the city quickly and not have to go through the red lights, or right in downtown Calgary, you have to wait for the C train because it's not built above ground like Vancouver or below ground like the subway in Montreal. So you have to wait for the lights. And I think it's the same with the LRT.
Our city is so smart. We had an underground one, and then we just decided to add an above ground one.
Yeah, that's just crazy. So I must admit, our ring road's not done yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there, right? We're getting there. We are going to kick you guys' butt when it comes to organizing the ring road, though. Our ring road, it's beautiful, well taken care of, and yeah, it's going to look good. And we're going to be able to get around the city way faster than you guys.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Calgary, but I hate the damn traffic there. Like, that traffic there to me is horrible. But also, I'll caveat that I never lived in Toronto or Vancouver, and probably anybody from there would be like, "You're a joke. This is not even busy here." But yeah, because I was like I said on Barb's channel, in case you don't get over there, I wanted to share the story with this couple that moved here from Toronto, and they wanted something really affordable. So that's more on the outskirts, like the suburbs area, compared to inner city, where central living is a lot more expensive. So like, okay, so just so you know, we don't want to commute more than an hour and a half each way. Like, you almost have to drive the ring road twice to do an hour and a half. Yeah, so it's just like Calgary. I guess it's very similar. There's not going to be any like super big commutes unless there's something that's unforeseeable, like an accident, or slower driving, like a big snowstorm or something. I have also these other clients from Vancouver, and they shut down bridges there because of ice bombs.
Oh, yes. Yeah, my nieces live there.
I didn't even know what an ice bomb was, and then I guess it's something that forms on the top of the bridge, and it can actually smash like people's windows and stuff. So we don't have that problem here in Edmonton.
No, and when it's minus 50, they don't shut down the schools or anything, but they do that in Vancouver. When it gets super cold or too much snow, the city it shuts down. No, for us, it's like, oh, it's minus 30 out. Cool, it's warm. Let's go.
Let's go. Dress properly. Wear your layers. Yeah. Layers. That's an important point to anybody coming here. This city and probably Calgary, we're probably really similar. You have to dress in layers because you have no idea. It starts out cold. It's going to be hot. Starts out like a fairly mild day or raining. It's going to be cold. I think the common saying in Alberta is if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. And it changes. So, so it's pretty crazy here for that. I want to talk about some more sensitive topics that I get a lot of questions on, and I don't really know how to answer them. So let's try to tackle this together.
All right.
A lot of people are asking me all the time, and they get really mad because I don't talk about safety in the city. So like, well, how safe is Edmonton? What are the bad neighborhoods? And honestly, like, I'm never going to tell anybody like what a bad neighborhood is because it's all relative. It's just like saying to somebody, like, rate your happiness. Like, happiness is like internal. It's like however one person feels isn't going to be the same for another person. And there's some areas in the city that some people might consider less desirable or dangerous. And I have clients that live there and they feel fine. So why would I do a video to like almost like shame them or not feel great, like for our city? So I don't know about you guys if you have this, so you can let me know. What I can tell people is like look for, you know, where the fire stations are, how close the police are, like how close like how easy it is to get to a hospital, because should something happen, you want to know that you'll have the services like available. And I think that basically anywhere in the city, that is fine. I also don't feel like Edmonton, and I don't think Calgary either, you can let me know, is like when I went to LA and I went to the wrong neighborhood and they're like, you need to leave this neighborhood now. I'm like, okay, this is not safe. Like I think you could go to any neighborhood in Edmonton and be fine. Like there's crime and theft that happens, but it is a city, but generally pretty safe cities in my opinion. So one thing I was going to say to look out for, and maybe it's in your city, is, and it's not true for all parts of the city, but you know, if you don't want to live near a prison or the remand, you can like Google those to see where the prisons are, like maximum security prison is, stuff like that. If you're worried of an escapee or something, or something happening, maybe that's why, like in the southwest of Edmonton, we don't have any prisons. So maybe that's why it's the most popular. But what about you for your city?
I do agree with you. I do have people reaching out, especially from my YouTube channel, asking about safety. And I'll be honest, I think that anywhere in Calgary, you can go and you can live. And there's parts of Calgary that I know people say, oh, don't live there or don't live here or whatever. But that there's somebody to live in every part of the city. Mm-hmm. And I think it depends on your budget. It depends on, some people might want to be near their community. Some people might want to be near a church or and do you get into something that you can afford? Right now, maybe it's not in the neighborhood that you want to, but you want to stop renting, so you purchase in that location. Calgary is definitely not that city like like LA, right? We don't have those sort of crime. You can walk anywhere in Calgary in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, and let me tell you, my husband and his friends have done that. My husband and his friends have walked from the University of Calgary all the way to where we live, all the way to where they live, all parts of the city, and intoxicated, I might add, and nothing's happened to them. It's very safe. We don't have that sort of, I think in a lot of the big cities where this side is super dangerous. We just don't have that. It's safe in every parts of Calgary. I personally don't feel unsafe going into anywhere in Calgary. That's just my personal feelings. Now, other people might have that feeling, but I personally don't have that. I can go anywhere within Calgary, whether it's in the middle of the night or whether it's during the daytime, or it does. I don't feel unsafe in Calgary. Calgary is a very clean city. We have very pride of ownership throughout the city, and I think a lot of community as well. I have been in many communities where sometimes I have, being a realtor, we're in a rush, I've forgotten my keys, or I've lost, once I locked my keys in the car. That's back in the day before, my new car. It tells me, listen, your key is still in the car. You cannot lock it. So I've locked my keys in the car, and I've had strangers come up to me and helped me. You can go on the streets and ask people, I'm looking for such and such a place. Do you know where it is? And they will walk you to where it is. They'll go, come, I'll take you there. I don't feel unsafe. And that's just me. Like I said, maybe other people feel unsafe, but I think within the city, it's a great place. And as Mayor Nanchi always, I know he's on his way out for being the mayor. He's served so many terms. I think it's 4 terms that he served. And he's always said, Calgary's a great city, and there's no part of the city that's not livable or not feel like a community. And you see that community. I'm going to digress for a minute, Jen, and just talk about that. When we had the flood of 2013, we saw that in our communities. We saw everybody just roll up their sleeves and just got in there. I mean, everyone was helping. They were helping. You didn't know who the people were, but you wanted to help. So, my girlfriend and I went out to Siksika, and we helped cleaned up stuff and fixed things. And everyone was just helping each other. So I don't think we have that environment that people are talking about unsafe in Calgary and Edmonton. And I've never felt anywhere unsafe, to be honest with you, or not safe in any part of Calgary, for me personally. And I didn't feel that in any part of Alberta. I mean, I love to camp, my family and I, and we go camping in a whole bunch of different places. So I won't chat anymore on that, but Calgary is a great city, and it doesn't matter which part of the city you live in. It just make sure it meets your needs and your family's needs.
Yeah, I agree here. I mean, I live in downtown, and if you look at like the Edmonton police report or whatever, it only gives you like the last 3 months. Lots of people are afraid to come downtown. They don't feel like it's very safe. And I do think you have to keep your wits about you. You have to see like what's around you, see if somebody's following you. We have a lot of problems with parkades for condo buildings, people like breaking into them. But I think that's pretty common. No one that I know of has been like assaulted or hurt, just like robbery. I actually have a video of when we were robbed in our basement or in our underground parking, and it sucked. We got through it. We don't feel unsafe. So I think that's the main thing, is that people don't feel unsafe. Another question I get is like, how cultural is the city? And I know that here in Edmonton, we have a variety of cultures migrating to the city. Ethiopia, Somalia, India, there's even China's coming, Lebanese community, Ukrainians just recently migrated here, and I'm talking with them. So I think that there's also a lot of culture here. And I'm going to let you speak on this too. But from our culture, we get a lot of arts and festivals in Edmonton. We're actually like the festival city.
Yes. Again, I'm jealous because you guys have, I can't remember. I did a research on how many festivals you have, but it's crazy. Crazy.
And they're not just in the summer, like almost in this, like aside from COVID times, there's usually like at least one a week. There's more than one a week. During the summer and the winter, we have I think it's called the Silver Skate Festival, and they have a castle like on that kids show. What's it called? Anyway, it's a ice castle. It's pretty cool to go check it out. And there's skating. There's skating at night you can do here on trails with like the lights and things like that. So yeah, so with the Heritage Festivals is what I was getting at. The Heritage Day Festival and August Long Weekend is where you can really see all the cultures in Edmonton and the community come together. It's amazing. Yeah. There's dozens of cultures that are represented there, and they have their food, they have their dancing, they have like products that they make, they sell, and it's really nice. And everybody comes there without hate and anything like that, and it's safe for people to be there. So, I mean, do you feel like Calgary is the same?
Yep, definitely. Before we answer that, Jen, I just noticed there's some people in the chat here. So if you want to comment on the top right screen there are some people asking some questions. So maybe we can give them a shout out. Do you see the comments?
Yes, I do. Well, let's answer them after.
Sounds good.
I'm not really sure how to pronounce some people's names. Sorry.
Well, so we might have to skip the names, but we could always answer their questions. So for me personally, being somebody who is originally from Jamaica and with my lovely, sexy skin tone, you can see that I'm a woman of color. I have no problems with cultural wise. Me personally, I have clients from all walks of life, all different cultures, and I don't have any problems with that. I mean, you will always get, sorry, I'm going to address this. You will always get people that, maybe that are racist or something like that, or rude. But I think you're going to get that anywhere. When you get a various different mix of different cultures, I think you're going to get that. But overall, I don't have any problems with a lot of, people being racist or things like that. We have such a mixed bash of cultures. We have Carafest, we have, their Africa Days, we have, there's the Philippines, there was Korean Days, China. For me, I would always go to all of those festivals. First of all, I love food. So when food is involved, I'm there. So, and I love to try different countries' foods. So, whether we have where I live, there's a lot of Indian communities around me. So quite often I'm vegetarian. So a lot of times when I don't feel like cooking, I'm heading to those stores, and they have the best vegetarian curries and the rice. And I have some fantastic clients who know that I'm vegetarians, and sometimes they'll just call me up and say, "Hey, listen, Barb, we've cooked some food for you," out of the blue. Doesn't that the best? Like, awesome. And culturally, I think that you could explore different cultures in both cities. Now, I must admit, my personal family, I'm originally from Jamaica, and my family, They actually prefer Edmonton because there's a lot of Caribbean things that they can get and do in Edmonton, which we cannot here. They prefer to even go to the. We have the Carafest here, and I must admit I can't remember what it's called in Edmonton, but my family prefers to go to Edmonton and do their celebration there. Instead of going to Carafest. So they prefer to go to Edmonton. Edmonton it's quite diverse. I would say when you're in the bigger cities in Calgary, it's more diverse. We've got lots of Filipino communities. I've got lots of Filipino clients here. I've got some great clients that are from Nepal. And I love people and I love the culture because you get to discover different things, different parts of the world. And then you also discover that, we're humans and we all have the same worries, safety, want to be loved or whatever. So I think if somebody's worried about coming from a different country, will they be perceived as, an outcast? I don't think you're going to get that in Calgary and Edmonton. I'm not sure. I can't speak to the smaller communities, maybe a smaller community, but I have been to some of the small communities and I've not had any issues either. I'm not going to say the issues aren't there, but I don't think it's what people are thinking. So if you're planning on migrating from another country to Alberta, you're good to go. And I believe the Alberta immigration also is very good at accepting people from all over. And the workforce.
I recently had somebody tell me that if people are migrating to Alberta because it's easier than other provinces.
Yep.
I actually have one client that her name's Khalees Williams, and she's helping people come to Canada. And so if anybody needs her contact information, just ask me. She's really great at getting people started. She came from Trinidad and Tobago.
There you go.
And just this year sorry to say, she was in Calgary, and then she saw my YouTube channel about how great Edmonton is. So she naturally had to move here. So she moved here in January. We got her set up in like an amazing home. Her whole family's living there. She has actually a home with a detached garage and a suite at the top. So when her brother and his wife and kid came, I think that they're staying in there now until he's like set up with work. When they came here from Calgary, it was very easy for them to find work right away. I think the husband was just transferred with his company. So there's lots of ways you can transfer between cities for work. And then she picked up a job really easily. And so, any help people need, sure you have contacts in Calgary as well for like, if you need steps. Like you can't just come and buy a house. You have to have things like a job. Number one, you have to have a down payment and you have to have a credit history. So usually speaking with a mortgage broker to give you an idea of what kind of wage you'd be wanting to get and what kind of savings that you would have to have for what level you can afford is a good idea. On Barb's channel, we talked about the single family home prices, how affordable each city is. And I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but I can tell you Edmonton is far more affordable than Calgary. If you want to know the actual prices, go watch the live that we had on there. You did mention that even though Edmonton is way more affordable than Calgary, Calgary is still way more affordable than the rest of Canada. Yeah. So, which is great, right, for people. So what do we have? So in summary, so far we have a construction season and a winter season. So it's 2 seasons for both cities. Just kidding. All seasons. It's pretty safe here. It's pretty culturally diverse. It's very inclusive. And just to give people an idea of like the language, like there are a lot of communities that have like English second language training, but English is the main language in Alberta. Although Canada is like dual languages, if you come here and you want to just speak French, it'd probably be pretty hard for you to like get around because not a lot of people are speaking French. Though we do have like French immersion schools and things like that. Like in Edmonton, we have very French communities where they even have like the stop signs that say like stop or arrêt.
All right.
Terrible. So yeah, in the Papa Francais, okay. Yeah. So we have like some very strong French communities here, but I think at the end of the day, if you go to any stores, you're going to need to speak English for people to understand you. And would you feel that's the same in Calgary?
Yes. English is definitely our number one language. But again, like I said, though, the cool thing about Calgary, the community, is if you speak another language and you need to, get help, somebody will help you. I mean, just the other day there was a lady and she was speaking Punjabi, and I knew she couldn't help, but she showed me her phone of where she wanted to go and what, and like there was people behind me. We all gathered to help her. So don't feel like you're going to be, when you come to our cities, both Edmonton and Calgary, that you're going to be alone. It's a very community based, and maybe it's because we're still, even though people say the people who are from Alberta or from Calgary or Edmonton or whatever, think that they it's such a long commute to get around. But let's be honest, when you're from Vancouver or Toronto, it takes you a long time. So maybe it's because we're still really a small city at 1.6. Calgary is a 1.6 million and growing. So we're still small
Does
enough
that include the surrounding areas?
Nope, that's just Calgary, the 1.6. So
Edmonton's still under 1 million for city core.
Yeah. No, we're 1.6. And so for that, when you think about it, we're still a small community, and maybe we still have that communal, that take care of our neighbors sort of feel. And so you don't get that big city where we're just in a rush. We want to get to wherever, right? Because it takes us 2 hours to get to work. But and maybe that's part of it, right? I also think that the prairie provinces, that includes all of the prairie provinces. I think there's just something about the farming, the community that gives you that heart. So I think that people, when you decide to come to Calgary or Edmonton, doesn't matter. When you decide to come to Alberta, don't feel that you're going to be alone. You will get some help, and there's going to be people will help you out, even if you're on the streets. Trust me, I have been there. I have helped people, and people have helped me. We're a very, very gracious community.
Yeah, I think it's great living here in Alberta. So what else would I tell people? But even if you feel like the strong sense of community, just so you know, like it would be good to have like a little bit of English.
Absolutely.
Even to read or whatnot, because that's the speaking language here. I think our holidays are basically the same. They're very, what would you call it? Regular, I guess. Like, and I guess that's regular for years. Doesn't really make sense. Christian, I guess, because they still have like holiday at Christmas. And so our holidays in both our cities should be the same. I don't think that each city has like a different, like a day off that one doesn't. We have a new holiday coming up on September 30th.
Yes. We
have our Indigenous, and other than that, we have Thanksgiving, which is, I get pagan holidays. Is what you would say, like a pagan holiday is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving in Canada is different than the U.S., and we're the same in both our cities. So it's in October. It's always the second weekend in October. And that's because we do our harvest early, because if we waited till November.
Oh, dear God.
We are sometimes like, what would you say? Like Halloween, where like basically, do we need snow pants or not snow pants? Or like, you know what I mean? It's like, is it going to snow on Halloween or is it not going to snow on Halloween?
I would say 95%, maybe not even higher than that it snows on Halloween. So be prepared. October 31st seems to be the day that the snow decides to come. You could have, plus 30 on the 28th or something. And then on the 31st, all hell breaking loose. That's it.
And so some people are asking about the government. So the government here is, I think the Alberta government right now is conservative. However, if you look at like the polls, you will see that even if it's the favorite, there's like still quite a few people that are with the other parties like Liberal and NDP parties. Typically, like for the federal election, I think Edmonton voted in 2 Liberals, and I think maybe Calgary had 1. But like in my community downtown, you would see like quite a split vote. Like there was almost equal amount for NDP, Liberal, and Conservative. So it's more in the smaller communities or the more rural areas, you'll get like very high percentage that votes Conservative. But it's still a good mix. Like I think like the good mix, if you look at the voting numbers itself, I think it's a good representation of like how mixed it is, like culturally diverse as well as politically diverse. And I don't think there's a problem with that. I think it helps keep everybody in check when you have the diversity there. So on Barb's channel, if you're wondering about jobs and house prices, we talked about that on her channel. So you can go there and check out which city has more head offices, what kind of work Edmonton has versus Calgary, and home prices, buying and selling a home. Just quickly, I'm going to repeat this on this channel, is it's not the same market as Toronto and Vancouver. So when you come to Edmonton and Calgary, it's more of a balanced market. You're not going to feel like what I told her on her channel is like, somebody's like, how much above list do I have to pay? Like, hopefully none. Or list price, like it depends on where you are in the city, and it's going to be determined on your price range as well, because here we have a very popular price range of between 300 and 500,000. Those homes are going very quickly. It slows down once you get over 500,000 here, and that's because of the average price that we mentioned on your channel. And so do you have like a price, like, so it's not just price range, it's price range and community.
Yes, right.
So with like based on the popular communities, the highest turnover, people like new homes. It's very strange for me, but people are like, when they come here, they're like, I don't want an old house. I'm like, but if the old house is in good condition, it's still a good house.
Yeah.
So, or if they've like redone everything, you know, the windows, the roof, the furnace, that tank, the water tank, there's no foundation issues. You almost better because it's better location usually. But anyway, lots of people are drawn to new homes, smaller lots, 0 lot line houses. I don't know. Do you guys have a lot of 0 lot line houses?
I think a lot, actually. It seems to be more popular now moving forward. Just about everything is becoming a 0 lot line for us here. I live in an old community, so my lot is 50 plus lot, which you don't really get anymore unless you're in the older communities. So
and you can split that lot in Calgary, because in Edmonton we have 50 feet lot you can split. And that's basically then like a skinny home lot. Yeah, so just for perspective for everybody, my height is 5'4", so my wingspan is not that big. And on 0 lot line houses, I could basically touch with my hands each house. Yeah, it's so close.
Yeah. So on a normal lot, you are allowed 4 feet and 4 feet, so you'd have 8 feet between the two. On the 0 lot line, you only have the 4 feet. So that is it. And so, but it gets you more houses in it. It's a little bit, the community would be a little bit more dense, of course, but that is what people are looking for. Some people want a brand new home, and in order to get them that brand new home and to have it in a price point that they can afford, they sacrifice the lot size. But I live in like I said, an older neighborhood, and my lot is 50 plus. I think it's 52 feet wide, so it's quite a bit comparing to the new lots or to the new communities. But it just depends, you know, what's good for you and your family. Like if you're not handy, maybe something new is good. My husband's very handy, so for us buying an older home, it's perfectly fine.
Okay, quickly, before we sign off, somebody was asking about higher salaries in Edmonton or Calgary. So neither Barb or I are HR specialists, which is human resources. However, if I was to wager a guess, I would say that Calgary has higher salaries, and now I'm going to give away some of your stuff on your channel. It's because it has more head offices. Yeah. So the oil and gas head offices, oil and gas is lucrative compared to public sector.
Yep.
And Edmonton has public sector. Like Edmonton has a lot of public sector work. We're doing some tech startups here and some warehousing, and then the blue collar workers, like the trades workers, stuff like that. Calgary is more white collar jobs. So with the white collar jobs, usually comes a higher salary. Would you agree?
For a fact, I know I don't have to guess that. Actually,
Good. Somebody knows.
Because I looked at on one of my videos, I did a video on that one, and I believe it's in the cost of living, or it's the Edmonton versus Calgary. There is an Edmonton versus Calgary. We do have more. Our salaries is higher in Calgary than Edmonton, but not by much though. But our salaries are higher in Edmonton for sure, absolutely.
The person's asking about a lawyer, and I think the lawyer depends on what kind of lawyer you're going to be, like a corporate lawyer, or you're going to work for the government, or you're going to do real estate law. So since we're in real estate, let's talk about real estate fees for lawyer fees. Oops. Is that me or?
Yep, in Edmonton. Or sorry,
yeah,
in Calgary.
So Edmonton, we have like legal fees are typically like for, let's say, buyer side deals are $750 to $1,000 depending on the lawyer. Then disbursements like land titles and stuff are on top of that. Is that similar for the fee in Calgary?
Yeah, I think so. I think
the average you'd say like for a $500,000 house, maybe like $1,600 with disbursements.
Yeah, they're about the same. Yeah, and so that's something you want to talk to a real estate lawyer, or like if you decide to buy a house, your realtor will help you. Usually they work with some lawyers and they work with mortgage brokers and things like that. So they would be the ones to get.
So the question from this person is, if you are a lawyer and you're moving to Edmonton or Calgary and you want to do real estate law, because I can't tell you about other stuff, that you would probably make the same in either city. So then, in my opinion, you would move to Edmonton because you can get a house for cheaper.
Yeah, so I guess it just depends, right? I mean, you can go to university in both of the cities for law. So it just depends on what you and your family want, right?
Yeah, and then corporate law, I would say probably Calgary because you have more head offices. But I can't say that Calgary corporate lawyers would make more than Edmonton corporate lawyers. There'd just be more opportunity there to get a job.
That's right.
So, yeah, so it's hard to say that. And one last thing before we go, something interesting I have to tell you, and you can let me know if you have anything else you want to say. If you're coming from Ontario or BC, you guys have a thing called land transfer tax. We do not have that here. That's a very high cost when buying or selling a house in either of those provinces. And when you're here, you just have to pay land title registration fees, which is on the website. You can calculate it easy. You can also go to this website called Deeded, DEEDED.com, and they're an online lawyer, and they'll give you a quote right there. They'll give you their fee, and then also what the calculation is for the land title registration cost based on the price of the home that you're buying. So I think that's and on her video, we talk about taxes, the advantage of taxes in Alberta, and like the sales taxes, and also like income taxes. So that's great. So Barb, did you have anything else that you want to mention before we go?
No, I see somebody's just saying that I guess they've bought a house on 39th Avenue. I'm not sure if that's Northwest or if that's in Edmonton. And then
I don't know
the locations of those places.
Is just like listing my listing addresses, so you can just ignore them right now.
Okay, there you go. So I personally wasn't sure. So I think the biggest thing is that if you're planning on moving to, if you're outside of the country and you're planning on moving to Calgary or to Edmonton, find out, what are you going to be taking, what's your work? What type of work will you be looking at? Are you going to be looking at working in accounting? Are you going to working for engineer for oil and gas company? Or are you going to be working on, for the government, right? Are you going to be working for the government? Because if you're looking at working for the government, then I would say that you could move to Edmonton. That would be better because they have more jobs from that perspective. If you're going to look at working at an oil and gas companies and or corporate head office, accounting, engineer, whatever, you could look at moving to Calgary because we have more corporate head office than does Edmonton. So I think that the biggest thing for me is find out what's good for you and your family, and then that's when you can make that decision.
Yeah, and I had a question previously before about tech companies, and even though we have like a lot of startup or incubators, I think in both cities, tech jobs are still like an up and coming thing. Like there was somebody that wanted to move back to Alberta that was speaking to me on my channel, and they're actually in Quebec now because that's where their tech-based jobs were available for them. But okay, so in summary, to sum it all up, Calgary, Edmonton versus Calgary. Edmonton, okay, so 1 has a better hockey team. 2, it's lower priced. 3, we have way better summers. You just have to suffer through the winters. The commutes are the same, and the taxes and everything else are the same. So as we leave you today, if you have any questions that we didn't answer today in my video or in Barb's video, and make sure that you go to the description of this video where I'm going to have all Barb's contact information and also link to the other video so you can check it out that we did, so you can get all the information. Any other questions that we didn't answer from those videos, drop it in the comments, send us a DM, text us, and we will be happy to answer them for you.
Yes, absolutely.
So thanks everybody for joining us on this broadcast, and maybe we'll do another one. Do you think we should?
For sure, we'll do another one. We'll take a little bit of time, but absolutely, we'll do another one.
Go to my Instagram channel, and I'll put a poll on there, and I'll ask you guys if you like the live, if we should do another live, and or just recorded videos because we get more to the point that way. I don't know. It's up to you guys. Okay.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Barb, for joining me, and I don't have any music to dance to, so we're just gonna say bye.
See you guys. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye, Jen.